The action from the Celebrity Sports Center in Denver, Colorado. And you mentioned Tom Baker, and that's a familiar name because he set a number of the PBA scoring records while playing at Celebrity Lanes back in 1980.
I remember watching
they were phenomenal.
That tournament on television, too.
He averaged like 245 for the tournament.
Were you working for the PBA at that time?
Yeah, that's right. Back in it's either 79 or 80. I'll have to ask Tommy this week. Leanne Barrette to start game number 2. Rev it up. Watch it strike. And Mary Martha had better get the A game out, because if not, she could be heading to Los Angeles a little early.
Well, the two shots we saw her throw in the 10th, the washout, Denny, and the one following that, she threw the ball out. She did hit around the 9th, 10th board. Thanks to our bowler tracking system, we have the exact figures. So she needs to keep the ball tight in the track area.
And a light hit. 10-pin wiggles momentarily, but the 6-pin couldn't quite get the 10 to fall.
The flat hit, 6-pin sitting in the channel, not quite enough drive. Like I mentioned, the big difference between these two players. Mary Martha very direct, not near as many revolutions on the bowling ball as Leanne Barrette gets. So Leanne is able to really open up the pocket and take an advantage over other players.
I really like Mary Martha's game, though, the mental side. She is a gamer. I mean, she will come at you with everything she possibly has and will max out on every shot. And I think she'll rise to the occasion playing the Player of the Year. And our hosts this week, Wayne and Chris on. Chris had a terrific week at the WIBC Queens last week in Cedar Rapids. And, of course, Wayne, an ABC and PBA Hall of Famer, one of the greats of all time.
Super host. They really know how to put on a nice tournament.
18 is the better of the two lanes as far as the striking is concerned.
Well, it appears, like you mentioned, lane 17 to be a little bit tighter. So if they do throw the ball a little bit to the farther to the right, they are not going to get it back.
Well, you mentioned tighter, and right there we saw an indication. Looked like a decent shot, but the 5-pin never thought about falling down.
Well, it could be also, Denny, that there's just not enough back ends on lane 17, and the ball just not driving hard enough. Now you see here the top line, the ball at 55 feet, ball traveling at 16 miles an hour. Down on the bottom line, that's the ball at 15 feet at the arrows. The ball traveling once again 16 miles an hour, but she played around the 12th board.
A good look at the strike line as she converts the 5-pin. Now will Leanne Barrette take control early on in this one with a quick double. It looked in practice like the right-hand lane was the one that she liked the better of the two.
Well, Leanne chose to finish the match on lane 18, and she will finish last, so she must have liked lane 18 better.
Just whacks the pocket on 18, starts with a quick double, and jumps out to an 11-pin lead.
Well, we mentioned, Danny, you give players like this room. You've got the world's best players out here on tour, and you give them some area to the right and to the left, they're going to throw a lot of strikes. And Leanne Barrette is also able to open up more area to the right because she does rev it up. She gets that strong hit at the bottom of the swing, and by doing so, she's able to rev up the ball and get it to hit hard.
But when you get it a couple of boards too far to the right and you hit the skid zone, you leave the washout.
Well, there's limitations to everything, and Leanne Barrette just found out where her out-of-bounds area was. And on lane 17, it appears it's out around the 3 board because that's about how far this ball went out before it made a break back.
She had mentioned to me during the practice session that anything that ended up hitting outside of about 5 was a bit of a problem. And I think we saw it right there. She comes back, tries to make the washout. How about a little help? And she gets it from the head pin. So Leanne Barrette, after leaving the washout, converts it in the 3rd.
And once again, we've seen it picked up twice here, almost slicing that head pin in front of the 10, but it says, nah, I'll kick you out.
A little headbutt there from the head pin. You'll take anything you can get on those.
I swear. You're talking about the worst washout shooter.
The best way to convert that.
How?
Just don't leave it. Mary Martha with her second schnoz hit of the evening, and her carry percentage on the nose is pretty good thus far, 2 for 2.
Well, her ball has to be driving pretty good. Now she is making a few adjustments, Denny. She left the soft 10. She left the 5-pin last time on lane 17, so she is trying to get the ball a little bit higher up into the pocket.
Double here would give her the lead by 3.
Another player that has to stay aggressive, and I think that's relative of all the players on the tour when you talk to them about their success throughout the week. If they stay aggressive, they usually do much better.
A break, and only the 4-pin remains, so she is still searching on lane 17. You can see the washout, then high, and then back, and then forth, so she's not yet gotten comfortable after the first game on lane 17.
And yet we saw 7 strikes in the first 7 balls that were thrown on this pair.
But the good news for her is that she's only down by 7 pins. So she's right in the thick of the match in the early stages.
Well, Leanne Barrette has really had quite a bit of problem throwing the big games this year on television, Denny. She threw the big game in Columbia, Tennessee, but other than that, she told me, you know, even if I could throw a 220 and lose, I wouldn't care.
All right, a 7-pin lead for Leanne Barrette. And what would pictures of while we were away, this key shot in the 4th?
Zip. That's what I can say about this. You can see there the ball going from 12 to about 8.
Now you see him?
Now you don't.
Now you don't. Leanne with a 7-pin lead after a re-rack on lane 17 would dearly love to double here and put some real heat on Mary Martha.
Well, she washed out in the 3rd frame, Denny. We saw her try to bring the ball back from the 3 board, which she was unable to do. She tightened up quite a bit on lane 18, playing from about 12 to 8. So let's see what happens. Perfect.
Yep. Much different shot. Did not get it even close to the 3 or the 4 board. Leanne with her 2nd double, and now she leads by 17.